Good afternoon, my name is Peyman. Today I would like to give you some information about money and capital market, which are two different types of financial markets. First of all, I'm going to start with money market. Money market is basically dealing with borrowing money to someone for a short period of time, while the capital market is vice versa. It's basically for borrowing money to someone for a longer period of time. So let's start with the money market first and go through its details and including the risk, the interest rate, participants, and the issuers of this loan. So first of all, I'm going to speak about the first instrument of the money market, which is including Australian Treasury notes. It has been issued by Australian Treasury, and this bond is basically almost risk-free because its interest is not very high. Its maturity time is between 30, 60, or even up to 90 days. The next instrument that I'm going to speak about is BABS, which is standing for Bank Accepted Bills. It's also part of the money market. It's regarding a promise that given to someone regarding guaranteed payment through the bank. So it's kind of bound with a lower risk, and it's basically depends on the type of the guaranteed that has been given, that has been set up between the person and the bank. Its maturity time is between 30, 90, and it can be even up to 180 days. So it's basically greater than the previous part that I spoke about. Its interest rate is between 2.02% to 2.24%. The third element that I'm going to speak about is also about negotiable certificates of deposit, which is NCDs as well. And it's also part of the money market. It can be issued by money center commercials, and its risk is basically depends on the strength of the issuing bank. It can be varied, and also its maturity period of time is within 2 weeks to 1 year. And if I want to talk about its interest rate, it's almost same as BABS that I spoke about, which was 2.02% to 2.24%. So the fourth part of the the money market is commercial paper. It can be issued by financial firms, and it's basically low risk, and its maturity time it's only up to 270 days, and its risk is varies depending on the level of the risk, and the amount of the money which had been borrowed from the bank. So they all can be varied. So the fifth item that I would like to speak about is money market managed funds. This item is also, it has a low degree of the risk, and it doesn't have any maturity time. It can be redeemed anytime, which is convenient, and it's a low interest rate, and because of that, it's as I said, it's one of the lowest item of the money market in terms of the risk and the maturity time. So the last part of the money market that I would like to speak about is the consumer credit card. It's basically for non-mortgage consumers. The risk is variable to the amount and limit of the credit. Also, the maturity is also varies. There is not any limited in advance when we are talking about this, and its interest rate is also variable to a couple of items like the limit of the credit card. Now let's speak about capital market. It involves 4 different instruments. First of all, I'm going to speak about Australian Treasury bonds, which is part of the capital which is part of the capital market. It can be issued by Australian government, and in terms of risk, it's not very risky item. Its interest is also between 1.99% to 3.35%. The second part is mortgages. It can be borrowed from commercial banks, and it's not very risky as well. And it can be borrowed up to 30 years, and the interest rate is between 4.0% to 5.0%. So the third part that I'm going to speak about is semi-government bonds. It's riskier than Australian government securities, so it's quite risky, but it can be borrowed up to 30 years. And also the last part that I would like to speak about is corporate bonds. Uh, it had been noticed riskier than any other item. It's basically riskier than preferences and ordinary shares, but there is no certain information about about this market because regarding its maturity time and interest rate. So I cannot provide any certain information about this, and I hope you have enjoyed this video.